Hi, Muna.
Hi, Jul.
Hi. You can hear me now?
I can.
Okay.
But you can put yourself on mute for now, and then.
Sure.
Thank you, Jul. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Okay. Just waiting in. Kajal, should we start?
Yes.
30 moments. Yeah. We just wait for 10.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so let's start. A very warm welcome and good afternoon to all those people who've turned up, and thank you very much. Let me share my screen and we are good to go. So guys, in case we haven't met, let me introduce myself. My name is Bhuvna Sriram. I am a certified financial planner. I've been in the financial services industry for the last 15, 16 odd years, and I run a company called Plan to Prosper. We're a boutique wealth management firm. We work with about 130 clients and largely financial planning and wealth management. Today in the 10 Crore Club welcome meeting, I'm joined by my colleague Kajal Singh and two mentors of the team, the club, Amit ji and Karan. We'll talk more about Amit and Karan in just a little while. But this session is about you and the 10 Crore Club. So are you good? I just want to lay out a few, set some expectations. So we have about a 60-minute, 70-minute presentation of about 30-35 minutes, and then open the door for a lot of conversations. So meanwhile, while we are at it, if you can keep yourself on mute and keep your videos off, that'd be helpful. And then at the end of the presentation, if you can unmute yourself and put your hands up, and we'll unmute you and you could share your views and feedback. I'm very, very happy and eager to hear what you got to say. So the 10 Crore Club. So is that exciting? Meanwhile, you please share whatever your thoughts are on the chat box. We'd like to see what you have to share on the chat box. I keep the chat box open as well. And we have a few exercises and a few interactions. If you can keep this interactive, be very, very happy. Right? Okay, so here we go. My first question for all of you is, what can having 10 crores mean to you? Does it even mean anything? So you came in saying 10 crore club hai, interesting. And why is it named 10 crore club? We'll come to that in a little while. But what can having 10 crores mean to you? So it can mean many things to many people, right? To me, at least, having 10 crores means I wouldn't ever have to worry about doing anything to actively earn income. I can spend my time on what really matters to me. I can give my children an opportunity that whatever they want to aspire for, without putting clamps on it, I can give them those opportunity. I can create that kind of impact on my community, on the causes that I care for. So 10 crores can mean a lot of things to me. So if you can share on the chat box, what is it about the 10 crore number, or if you had 10 crores, what would it do to you? What kind of impact will it happen? What kind of impact will it make to you? And what will that mean to you? Can I see some quick chats, some sharing happening here? Focusing on important things in life other than money, okay? Like philanthropy, value creation, a good corpus to retire, okay? That's amazing. Good corpus to retire. I'm very, very keen to hear what can having 10 crores. So, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to set a very clear goal, right? And we're saying that the process to get to that goal is going to be simple, but not easy. So the goal better be worth it, right? Unless the goal is worth it, something that inspires you, something that gives you that, yes, this is something that I really want, then you're not going to give it your all. So that's what I'm trying to find out. So what can having 10 crores mean to you? I'm passionate to do things that I like to do, start business, create employment. Wow. Okay. That's cool. Shubdeep says, this amount exactly matched with my goal statement of my net financial worth. Okay, so 10 crores is just some number that came from thin air, you could say, or I could say something like a millionaires club in the US. So an equivalent of it being something like a 7.5 crores and rounded off to 10 crores. So it has no meaning. A 10 crore is just an aspiration. It would mean early retirement for PS. Okay, it would mean early retirement. What would early retirement mean to you? So what will you do if you retire early, PS? It'll empower women, Tanvi, come on. It'll empower women. Okay, what can having 10 crores mean to you? Even if you're thinking about it, it's a great thought to put your thoughts behind. So this is amazing. It can mean a lot of things to you. You could really change generations and generations of being middle class. You can change your family tree forever. You could be a blessing to your family, to your children, your grandchildren, to your society, to your community. It could just mean many things, guys. So helps me to start my purpose of creating a mind educational academy, start a business that's in mind. Wow. Okay. So these are all very inspiring, and this is amazing. So what we're trying to share here is, I mean, I've been in this industry for a long time now, about 15, 16 years, and I've had the good fortune of working with people who've made it in the 10 crore club, figuratively the 10 crore club, who've made it to a state of financial freedom. We have a couple of people here in our meeting as well. And I've also had the opportunity of working with people who are just starting off, who are trying to build wealth. And a few things that I've always found that stops people, or they think that this works, this doesn't work, are some popular beliefs about money that many people have. Okay, you look at somebody who's very rich and you're thinking maybe they just inherited a lot of money, right? And maybe they just went to some fancy Ivy League school and that's how they became that rich, or they took some crazy risks with their money. They did, they bought the lottery, or they got some ridiculous things done with their money, or they maybe started a startup and that was their idea of getting to wealth. They owned a company, or they were the CEO or CFO of a company, and that is how they built wealth. While this is one end of the spectrum saying these are popular beliefs about money, truth seems to be something else. Truth substantiated by a lot of research, and also of the very many people that I have met who've made it. They don't seem to have done all of these things, and these don't seem like truth. So let's just understand what are these myths about money and what really means. What is it really, right? So this is a research done by the Ramsey Solutions. Dave Ramsey is like a big guy in the US, and they did a research over 10,000 millionaires in the US in 2018, and this is what they found out. Right? They said 79% of millionaires received zero inheritance. Okay, they did not get a penny in inheritance. About 17% of people got about 0 to 100,000 in inheritance, and less than 4% of the millionaires who have $1 million in net worth received $1 million or more in inheritance. Okay, so inheritance doesn't seem to fit into the whole story, but let it be. Another myth that we see is that these people were lucky, or they did some, they took some risks, and they got some things going for them in their lives, right? So this also doesn't seem to hold any good. So this is what we see here. Millionaires attribute discipline and hard work as the reason for their wealth. They build their wealth through their employer-sponsored retirement plan, 79% of the people. Now, this is important for us to understand because in the US, the 401k is optional, right? So people opt in and then they build their wealth, and 90% of them have never taken out a loan for business. Right? Forget investing. They didn't leverage and take out a loan and all of that stuff. So those things don't seem to have happened. Now, I want to share this with an example of one of my own clients. So this is the story of my client. He's about 64 years old, and he grew up in a small village in the Tirunelveli district in Tamil Nadu, and he lost his father very young. He went to Ramakrishna Math, and that's where he was educated. His uncle sponsored his graduation. He studied at government college in Chennai and joined a pharma company as a medical representative, slowly grew up the ranks, married a doctor. His wife is also a doctor, but she works for the government of Maharashtra, so she's BMC doctor. And this is their net worth. Okay, he's retired now. He lives in Chembur, in a 3 BHK flat, drives around a Mercedes, travels to the US at his own cost to meet his children twice a year. And this is his portfolio. There's nothing really fancy here. You see PPF and you see MFs bought through SIPs and blue chip stocks and gold bonds. And I mean, I don't see anything fancy about anything here. He's just built people like you and I who've come from very humble buildings. Building this kind of net worth has been possible. Right. And number 3 myth that we see is that they've probably got a lot of money, meaning their careers must have done very well, or they must have had Ivy League education, right? So that also doesn't seem to cut eyes. This is a little bit of research that has happened. And I know of 2 people, clients of mine, both of them 52, children going to college, both of them in good career positions, of course. But one went to Ross Business School in the US to do an MBA. The other went to University of Baroda to do an MBA. Okay, very comparable. In fact, if you net out all the loans, the person who went to a local college has a better net worth than the one who did otherwise, right? So these are certain myths that I don't think bears any meaning to it. And this is where this whole idea of the 10 crore club came up, saying, you know what we believe and what is the reality seems to be very, very different. And what has really made these people, and if there is a certain behavior, how is it that that person who went to Ramakrishna Math and then did it, what did he do? Or what are these people who are making it to the 10 crore club behaving very differently from all of us, right? And then this backed by research and a little bit of my own study, there are 7 or 8 different characteristics which I realized that people who are 10 crore clubbers or people who've made it, financially free people, seem to have in them. Now you can just do a check whether all of this applies to you or not. Number 1, they take responsibility. So this is a very popular question that I ask clients before I sign them on is, what is the best thing that you did with money, or what is the worst thing that you did with money? And the worst thing that they did with money usually goes on for a longer time. There's a conversation happening about it. And not once have I seen them say that this is because, I'm blaming the government didn't do this properly, or I didn't get an order, or GST happened, or my financial advisor gave me the wrong advice. No, I've always heard them say that, yeah, I mean, I took a wrong call, it didn't work for me, but I just move on, right? So number 1, they take responsibility. Good things go well, they take responsibility. Things don't go well, they take responsibility. Number 2 is they set goals and they make plans. So it's just not some airy goal that says, oh, 10 crores or financial freedom. There's a plan to it. They say, okay, I'm going to put aside this much. I'm going to behave like this. I'm going to do this. So there's a plan to it when they set a goal. So there's no, yeah, okay, the universe will conspire, of course it will, but every goal is backed by a plan. This is very interesting. They live on less than they make, every single one of them. They're not interested in impressing anyone. I know of people who've made it there, still driving a Wagoner. Okay, so I have a particular story. So I had a client, this is from my Tata Motors times when I was selling trucks. There was this particular client of ours who had 100 vehicles. He had a 100 vehicle fleet. He was in Vellore. He was running these vehicles for a car manufacturer, and really rich person, right? 100 vehicle fleet is fairly large. If you go to his house, he'll give you coffee in a gold tumbler. Okay, that's how affluent he was. And he would come from Vellore, he would drive all the way and come to our office in Chennai, and he would have to park his car right at the parking, and that guy would ask for 5 rupees for parking. You know what this person will do? He'll call me. He'll say, Bhuvna, I am here at the parking. This fellow is asking me for parking money. Can you come down and talk to him? Okay. So I would go down and say, okay, Amara parking mein dal dijiye, please put him there, and bring him up. Now I used to think, he's got so much money. Why is he so conjuice with 5 rupees? And that's when one of my colleagues told me, you know what, it's not that, why is he rich and not spending money? He's rich because he spends money so intentionally. They're very careful about where they put their penny. They're never casual about it. There's a lot of respect for money, right? And they stay away from all kind of debt. When I say all kind of debt, yes. So Mukesh Ambani borrowed $21 billion and paid it off in 2 months. Okay. They pay off loans really very fast. They use cash for everything. They do not use credit cards. I've been out with all of them. I've never seen them use credit cards. They save and invest regularly and consistently. They're not waiting for the next bonus to come or the ESOPs to happen or the next big business to crack. They're just investing a percentage of their income very, very regularly. And that's how they seem to have built their wealth. They understand, take and manage risk. They're not running away from this. They're open-minded. They read the fine print. They ask questions. So one of my most interesting conversations have been with people who can afford to take the risk, right? So they want to know it all, and they understand, take and manage the risk, and they get a team together. So this is very critical. One of my clients taught me this. Anything that you want to do, Bhuvna, you want to do business, you want to do, build your wealth, or you want your child to do something, getting that team together is important. And you need 3-4 people in the team. One is you have a coach who knows what they're talking about technically, who understands the nuances of running the business, and a mentor who's just walked a little ahead of you, who's been through that journey. So if you're a part of a runner's club, you'll understand this. So there's somebody who's teaching you how to run, and then there's somebody who's just run a few more marathons than you have. So who's telling you, wear the shoe, don't eat this the night before the marathon. So somebody who's just walked ahead of you. And then you have cheerleaders. Your team should have cheerleaders, which is your family, typically family, friends, team, right? Who are cheerleading you, good times, bad times. Even if you're down, they're pepping you up, and you have a cheerleader in your team, and you have friends at the end of the finish line. At the finish line, you have somebody to celebrate the whole thing with, right? So get the team together is something that I've seen all of them have. They have a very, very solid team that they've put together very consciously. Now, this is what got me thinking, and how do we put this team? I need a support team. How can I put this team? So if I have a support team, and all of the other things can happen. Now, it doesn't seem like an easy job, getting to creating wealth, because there have been so much efforts that we made over the years, but something or the other happens that we seem to be falling back on our attempts. So having a team seemed like a very sensible thing to do, and that's when the idea of the 10 Crore Club, if we can have a club, so primarily inspired by the Runners Club, saying if we can have a club that supports each other, who's got a common goal of reaching that finish line, and who's open-minded and who's willing to learn, and who we can be a strength to each other, would it make a lot of sense? So that's where this question came up. Would it make a lot of sense to put this team together, right? And so that's how this 10 Crore Club came about. And I was just sharing these ideas with Amitji and Karan, and they said, wow, this sounds like a good idea. I'm going to share. They want to share a little bit of their story as well. I called them in. But what is the 10 Crore Club? If that's what you want to know, a 10 Crore Club is a club where people come together. It's for aspiring 10 crores, people who want to build a net worth of 10 crores because it's important for them, because it means something for them, it means impact for them. But they're looking at building wealth the right way. No shortcuts, no wanting get quick rich or anything like that. They want to do the right things. They want to build wealth the very right way. Aspiring 10 crores who are willing to take responsibility and do what it takes. So they take on, they take the blame if things go well, they take the credit when things don't go either ways, and they do what it takes, right? And for aspiring 10 crores who participate with an open mind and heart. When I say open mind, I'm okay to learn, I'm willing to explore and learn from other people, and if I make mistakes, it's all right, I'm going to figure out, right? Participate with an open mind and heart, and aspiring 10 crores with a mindset to support each other, right? So the 10 Crore Club is that idea of bringing people together who can do this. Right. What this is not is very important for us to understand. We're not some stock to provider, some get rich quick scheme, some MLM. It's not a business growth club. It's not a networking club. We're not here to do business with each other. We all have one common goal of getting to 10 crores. We're all going to get onto that journey. It's a climb uphill. Okay, but it's going to be a lot of fun once we are up there, but it's going to be a lot of fun along the way as well. Okay, it's very different from that highway which goes nowhere, but this walking uphill, the fortunate part is that people have walked that hill. Okay, there is a path, there is a process. So wealth building need not be like prayer, that you do something and then hope for something to happen. No, it can be like precision engineering. You have a process to follow, you do certain things, do it with faith, do it with complete belief, and then the result is preordained. It is just an outcome, right? So in that process, the 10 Crore Club, if you still are thinking, is this for you? Is this not for you? Is it okay if we do a quick exercise? Is that all right if we do a quick exercise? Yeah? Can we do a quick exercise? Are you okay? Okay, so I have a quick exercise to do. Okay. Let me move this a little bit so I can see all your responses. Okay, now you have to answer like to talk or hate to talk. Or hate to talk. Okay, so you say I like to talk about this. You can just say like or hate. I like to talk. I'm going to give you some scenarios. They'll come up on the screen and you read those scenarios. Think about it for a second and say I like to talk about it. I hate to talk about it. Okay, is that okay? Okay, so I like to talk. I enjoy, you will say that you like to talk when you enjoy getting new ideas about this. I don't have anything to hide on this subject, or this is a good opportunity for candid sharing of ideas and opinions. If you think that way, then you say, I like to talk, right? The situations are yet to come, just wait, okay? And you say you hate to talk when I wouldn't be caught dead discussing this. I'd boot out of the room if you were having this conversation, okay? So we have about 5 or 6 situations, so just go for it. I wouldn't spend too much time, just give your thoughts on this. Like to talk or hate to talk. Someone asks you, how are you doing financially? Say the truth. How are you doing financially? Somebody's asking, how are you doing financially? Would you like to talk? Would you hate to talk? Your partner wants to discuss this month's budget. Would you bolt out of the room? Skip dinner today? Your partner wants to discuss this month's budget. Think about it and answer. I'm not even looking at your answers, guys. It's for you to realize for yourself. That's all. A good natured neighbor who runs an NGO, he says he wants to talk to you. And you have this feeling that he's probably asking for some specific contribution for his NGO. Would you like to talk to him? I hate to talk. Okay. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Okay. Your child or a younger sibling asks you to co-sign or guarantee a loan or a credit card application. Your child or a younger sibling asks you to co-sign or guarantee a loan or a credit card application. Would you like to talk or would you hate to talk? You happy to do that? Hate to talk. Like to be a guarantor? You like to be a guarantor? Yeah. A money manager in your family says, I'm concerned about a few items on the credit card statement. I'm concerned about a few items on the credit card statement. Would you like to talk? Or will you just run away from the room? Hate to talk. I just like to talk. Yeah, I know. Okay. A friend asks you, where do you invest your money? Where do you invest your money? You'd like to talk? Okay. You reach out to your bank RM and he's asking for a loan and he tells you, tell me about your financial situation. Right? Hate it. I know, I hate it too. Okay, last question. You had a loan and your mom or dad knew about it and they once just drop in and ask you, did you pay off that loan? Did you pay off? No choice but to like his hate, Oliver. Okay, did you pay off that loan? Did you pay off that loan? Would you proudly say, yeah, I paid off, or like run away? I hate to talk about it. Yeah. Okay. Good, great. Okay, nice. So this is just to put that spotlight and say, we typically like to talk about things that we're doing well with. Right? So if I'm doing well in my fitness or my running or my children are doing well, I like to talk about it. If some of my hobbies are doing very well, if my business is doing very well, I like to talk about it. And if I'm not doing too well with something, I'm embarrassed about it, I'm ashamed about it, then I don't want to talk about it. If there's something to hide, then I don't want to talk about it. Right? So you make a decision, is this for you? If on the whole, if you're willing and eager to discuss financial matters openly and candidly, because it can give you new ideas, because it can help you progress, then maybe this is for you. Right? If on the whole that you're not willing, you're not eager to discuss financial matters openly, and this is something that's of worry, even then this is for you because you want to get to being more willing and eager to discuss financial matters openly. Right? So this must have given you some idea of this, whether this is for you or not. But like I was telling you earlier, now this is a club And we're embarking on a journey that's like, if you're going to the Mount Everest and you're going as a team, you know this is going to be tough terrain. There are going to be a lot of distractions that come your way, and there are certain rules that you have to follow, right? Certain principles that we want to follow in this club. Okay, some 9 principles that we want to be following in this club is something that I want to share with you. The principles to live by that I spend intentionally. So in this club, we spend intentionally. In our family, we work as a team. We'll talk about this in a little more detail much later. I save like a pessimist and invest like an optimist. I keep my promises and reach my goals. I eat healthy, exercise, and take adequate rest. I take responsibility for my decisions and my destiny. My children are responsible with money. I'm filled with gratitude for whatever I have, and I give generously without any expectations. So these are some principles that we'd like to adhere. These are some rules. If we don't follow these rules, then we'll be derailing the rest of the team as well. So this is something that I just want to lay the foundation on how we think this club will succeed, and all of us in it will succeed. Okay, so like I'm saying, this is precision engineering. Though we're not going to spend too much time on this today because Karan and Amit are very keen to hear from you, your thoughts. I'm just giving you a quick preview on what are the step-by-step process to get to the 10 crore club. So these are the processes. You get to first 1 lakh for emergency, pay off all the loans except the home loan, create a 6-month emergency fund, put away money for retirement, start saving for children education, attack the home loan and pay it off in full, focus on the 10 crore target with investments, and create a giving plan. There's a method to this. We'll share more details about it. In a lot of financial plans, I've seen that people try to do too many things. I'm putting 10,000 rupees for emergency fund. I'm putting 5,000 rupees for repaying my loan, some 2,000 rupees for my children's education, and then nothing really gets done, right? So here it's a lot more focused. I'm going to take 1 step at a time, do it really well, and then move on to the next step. And that we think is, not that I think, it's proven time and again that that's the way to get ahead in the process of wealth creation, so that you're like totally focused and getting there. Okay, the framework of support that we're thinking of putting together in the club is of knowledge, inspiration, accountability, and celebration. Like I said, there's a coach, there's a mentor, and then there are cheerleaders and friends. The idea in the club is that we meet. So I mean, I just want to clarify this. This is there's no commercial interest in this. We want to do this because we are on, I'm personally on this journey, and I just think there'll be a lot of fun with having more people and an aspirational group that's in support of each other. So we plan to meet every month. The beginning of the month, the first Sunday of the month, so that, you know, the Sundays afternoons are special times. So you could, to share a little bit of knowledge, share some tools, share some concepts, share some insightful experiences in a session, and then break out into smaller groups and have accountability. So based on what you've learned, maybe let's say, for example, the first session is on budgeting or intentional spending. So there are tools to follow. There are certain methods to do your budgeting, the way you, you balance your checkbooks, right? So understand that, the knowledge piece, and then there is some accountability, which is you agree on certain goals. You might simply say that this month I'm going to sit with my family and do my budget. Or I'm just going to pick one item of expenditure and be very intentional about my spending and keep account of where the money is going, right? So accountability, because that's where most of us fail, even in businesses we fail, right? So accountability, where there is a mentor who's holding you accountable for what you promised to do and what you have done. And if you, for some reason, have found it difficult, help you navigate around it, and then cheer you and celebrate when we reach specific milestones. So when you get, okay, all my credit cards are done, or I paid off my home loan, or I've got to my first crore, and those are reasons for celebration. So you have a team that celebrates you. You're happy to share this happiness with the others and get ahead with this. So this is the framework of support that we thought we'll put together. So Amitji and Karan, so I'll quickly introduce Amitji. Amit is senior veteran in the financial services industry. He comes with, I don't know, 20, 25 years of being there. He's somebody who's extremely highly respected amongst financial advisors. He must have, I mean, more than 1 lakh of people I don't know, more than 10 lakhs, right? Amitji, just clarify the number of people he's impacted with his sessions. It's tremendous. He's a best-selling author and a thought leader in the industry of financial services, but that's not why he's here. He's here because he's become financially free himself. His story is so inspiring. I've personally been very inspired as from working with companies like Franklin Templeton. He quit his corporate job, decided to do something on his own. In just about 7 or 8 years, he paid off his home loan and he owns his own house in Sion. And his children are young. He took those kind of decisions because he had a certain mindset and a mind frame to do that. And he gladly agreed to share his inspiration and his knowledge. Amitji on one side, and then Karan. Karan is another inspiring person who I've always looked up to. He's done something very similar. He comes from the background of Goldman Sachs and Axis Mutual Fund, and he's earned his financial freedom. He said, forget Bombay, I don't like it. I'm going back to Delhi. I'm going to do my own thing. Yesterday night, I'm calling him saying, I'm going out and meeting friends. I don't have to work because I'm financially free, right? And he agreed to, be that inspiration for us and reach that stage, right? So can I just call Amitji, unmute yourself, share your, your thoughts on the club and what you think would, how this would benefit people.
Okay, thanks, Bhuvna, and thanks for this initiative. But before I begin, let me just answer one of the questions which has come here. What's the duration of today's meeting? I think we plan to finish by around what, Bhuvna, 4:30, 4:40?
Yeah. We've scheduled only a session.
Yeah. So no, somebody put that question. So I thought let's just address that question, because it's always better to do the easier tasks first. Okay, so here goes my story, and this is something that I've written in one of my books also. That eventually, if you have a goal which is worthy of it, then the universe conspires to help you achieve that goal. I mean, that's a very famous line by best-selling author Paulo Coelho, and our own Bollywood also used that line in Om Shanti Om when Shah Rukh Khan says that अगर किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात उसे मिलाने की कोशिश में लग जाती है. Now that happens. Now, and there's a book, a very famous book called Secret by Rhonda Byron on the same subject. Having said that, my personal belief, and something that Bhuvna also mentioned in the beginning, is while the universe conspires to help you, but you got to work and you got to plan. If we plan and the universe conspires, and that's sort of my story. I came to Bombay for the first time for work way back in 1998, 99. And in those days, I was just, a young kid, 1 year into marriage. We decided that my wife would quit her job because we were shifting to Bombay from Ahmedabad. I was not happy with the job, and then in no time I decided to quit the job. So this was April 99. I quit my job, and the day I quit the job, I had no job in hand. I had no place to live in Bombay, and my bank balance was zero. And both of us, me and my wife, both were unemployed. So that was the sort of one major decision that I had taken for whatever reasons. And then things started turning around, because then we decided to take charge, got a job, and started working. Along the way, started getting some support from family, friends, some colleagues, and got some mentors who taught me the principles of basic money management. Of course, I came from a family background which was quite conservative when it came to expense management. So we were not big spenders anyway. So then that was 1999. Fast forward to 2008, almost 10 years later, I was again back in Bombay. And Poona mentioned I was at Franklin Templeton. Incidentally, Karan and I both were sitting in cabins next to each other. Both of us were vice presidents in the company. Both of us were doing well, and I decided to take a call because I had some plans in mind. And that day when I quit the job, in 99, when I quit the job, I was running away from something. In 2008, when I quit the job, I was running towards something. And that something was a goal that I had in mind, very firmly in mind. Before quitting the job, I decided to pay off the home loan. Boona made a small technical mistake there when she said around 7 years. No, sorry, it was 20 months that I paid my 20-year home loan. Yeah, in 20 months. But just imagine in 10 years, I could take those kind of decisions because of some basic financial discipline. My portfolio was even simpler than what Bhuvna shared about her client's portfolio, where there were some gold bonds and there were some stocks. In my portfolio, there were equity mutual funds, then there were debt mutual funds, and some money in the PF account with the company. Other than that, there was no fourth instrument in my portfolio. So keep it simple, and it just happens. The house was debt free. Today, I can't claim to be, technically, I can't claim to be financially free, that I don't need to work to earn. But I consider myself financially free because I can choose to pick up the work that I want to do, and I can choose to let some opportunities go. So that's the kind of freedom that I enjoy. But this is a journey, and really, really grateful to so many people who have come and helped. Really grateful to God for putting me in this blissful situation. Yeah, so that's the story.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, would you like to say something about the team that helped you? What are your thoughts on for people who are attending?
So, again, I'm saying I was great. I'm only grateful to God, and I'm grateful to so many people because we didn't have a formal structure, but just happened to get into a company which was run by some conservative principles. By company, I say that the company that I worked with, Franklin Templeton, in those days was a very, very conservative company. Of course, over the years, things might have changed, but in those days, at least, it was a very conservative company. So you learn some basic principles. We were taught to do our work and in a diligent manner without messing around. So the basic message was don't mess around. Yeah. Just keep doing your work. What you've been told. That's one. Number two, there were a few people who taught, and then they actually reinforced some of those lessons, that the best portfolio is a portfolio that you understand. If you don't understand something in your investment portfolio, then that's not the right portfolio. That's a wrong portfolio. And the lesson was very profound because just come to think of it, every investment is subject to some risk. And if you understand what you are entering into, then you can understand what risk you've taken. And when you understand what risk you've taken, you can manage that risk well. And that's why keep it simple is such a profound lesson, and that helped a lot. The family always believed, I mean, the family that I grew up in, we always believed in not spending money or rather thinking 4 or 5 times before spending something on something new. Once you got into the basic needs, then it's really fair. But take for example, I mean, the car that I'm using right now is my second car. The first car I used for what? Almost 10 years. This one is 8 years old. So you don't really change your vehicles that often. Some of the basic lessons, whereas I've seen a few friends where they've gone for cars, expensive cars when they didn't need it. In certain cases, you may need it. Take for example, I mean, when we talk about need and want, a lot of times financial planners or some of the advisors that I've spoken to have said that, the apple that you eat is your need, but the computer is a want. But in my profession as a trainer, I find an Apple computer to be highly reliable, and it's a fantastic investment. So in my case, it becomes my need. And when you start looking at things in this manner, these are some of the things that people have taught. Okay, so these are lessons. Now coming back to the team, there was no team as far as the support was concerned. There were random people who came in life and helped. Had there been a team, probably my journey would have been a little shorter and I could have taken some of the decisions earlier. So, so lot of times it just happens that you need a lot of support. You got some friends to go to for guidance, or sometimes simply you need a shoulder to cry on. That's where the team comes in very, very handy. That the same team keeps motivating you. And at one point in time when I was dilly-dallying, quitting the job, one of the friends with whom I had shared this idea, he simply looked me in the eye and asked me, are you serious, or are you simply fooling yourself that you want to quit the job? So you also need people who can ask those blunt questions. And that's really what a team can do. And that's magical.
Great, amazing. So Amitji, we're going to come back and I think
Sure. Thank you.
We'll have questions for you. And Karan, can you share what your thoughts on when we initially spoke about the club? You think this is going to be useful for people and your own journey of having a team to help you and all of that?
Thanks, Bhuvna. And first of all, I'm happy that you put this thing together, because a lot of people speak about it, but don't necessarily put together a club to achieve 10 crores. So the first thing I told you when you called me up is that I'll be very happy to be part of that, and to be in any way, if I can help, I'd really like to do that. So congratulations for getting the idea together, and getting people like Amit on board, who just tremendous amount of experience in handling money and can be such a contributor to people's lives. So good that you put this together. What I wanted to share with everyone is just very briefly, a couple of things that I've learned in my life. First of all, there's a difference between making money and creating wealth. The two are completely different. Making money is possible. It can happen. But sometimes even happen overnight if you buy the right stock. But creating wealth is a decadal proposition. It takes decades to create wealth. So as people who are on this call, and as someone who's gone through this journey, I mean, as someone, I've kind of personally gone through this journey, I want you to think very hard about what you want to really achieve. Do you want to make money, or do you want to create wealth? The two are completely different. And creating wealth, like I said, takes decades. Now, many times and very often we take the example of marathons, which is exactly what Bhuvna also did, and kind of relate marathons to wealth creation. I want to give you a slightly different example. The sport is sprinting. So in a way, it is about running, and it is about, it's about someone who you all know. It's Usain Bolt. I want to talk about that and kind of relate it to wealth creation. Now, Usain Bolt's the fastest man on planet Earth. He runs his 100 meters, or used to run his 100 meters around the 9.2 second mark. 9.2, 9.3, and on a given day, he could even break that. What you'll be amazed to know that his entire career, he's been on the track and field for less than 2 minutes. And that entire career spanned 21 years. So it took him 21 years of hard work and training, but in actuality, it was only less than 2 minutes on the track and field, winning Olympic medals, winning world championships, and becoming worth $300 million. So the point I'm just trying to make is that someone as fast and as unique as Usain Bolt also took 20 years to reach where he reached. So I'm going to repeat that. It's just very important for investors to figure out, do you want to make money or do you want to create wealth? I think Bhuvna has put this entire program together towards the latter, not the former, which is creating wealth.
Correct.
Second part I want to talk about is the responsibility you yourselves have. There is a certain behavior that an investor has to demonstrate. And I sometimes I just see around me friends and family who kind of misbehave with their own money. And I'd strongly urge you to, think hard about behavior, because a lot of what this journey is about is actually investment behavior and little less about mathematics. I'm
Correct.
sure, and as time goes by, we'll speak a lot about it. It's about behavior and
Yes.
actually avoiding misbehavior than anything else. The last thing that I want to talk about is I have, like Bhuvna mentioned, and Amit and I have been colleagues for decades. I come from a financial services background. For the last 18 years, I've been part of the mutual fund industry, which is all about managing money. But trust me when I say this, I am no longer part of the corporate world. At 49, I walked away because I was able to do that. I would think of myself as currently being financially free. The only reason I could do that is because I had a financial advisor by my side. Even though I'm part of the capital markets, even though I spent 18 years doing this, that's what my job was. And yet I needed a financial advisor to guide me through this. So one of the most critical pieces of advice I can leave you all with is to not do this on your own. That's not your job. Your job is either you're an engineer or you're a businessman or a businesswoman or you're a doctor or you're running your IT business. Your job is to do what you do best. Please leave this advice to specialists. And I personally am an example of someone, even though I was from the industry, left it to an advisor. Now, the job of an advisor is to guide, is to take you through the goods and the bads and the roughs and the not so rough patterns of the market, because there will come many, many occasions when you need the guidance and handholding of an advisor. And so with that background, given the fact that decide what you want to do, create wealth or make money. Even Usain Bolt took 20 years, even though he ran for less than 2 minutes on the track and field. And finally, look for an advisor, because that's really the crux of the matter out here. So, Bhuvna, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Karan. I think that's very interesting. And we've been talking about this marathon versus sprinting quite a bit. And you being a sprinter, we've seen that benefit. So what I want to clarify to people here is that although Karan did mention that have an advisor by your side and stuff like that, this is not any promotion to, having an advisor or anything. There is no commercial interest in us wanting to do this club. Okay, so my primary motivation comes from the fact, or that inspiration has come from what has marathon running done to the whole industry. Okay, it's done, people started running marathons, and there are small marathons everywhere, and then there are a lot of gyms everywhere, there are fitness experts, there are dietitians. It's made a whole difference in how a whole generation is looking at fitness. And I'm seeing people around me at my age at 40, and I remember 30 years back, and the kind of fitness levels are tremendously different, right? So when what a movement like marathon running has done for not just the industry of fitness and health, but also for this country, for the whole nation, for a whole generation of people, is tremendous. So for me and for Karan and Amit, it's a starting of a movement where we want to do the right things with money. We want to put together a club, a runners club that can motivate each other and get us here. I'm sure the whole industry and a whole generation of people can benefit from going this journey, from just taking that next step and going that journey. So that's where this is coming from. And this is something that I wanted to clarify. And I'm very happy to take any questions. So Sandeep, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions. And if you have any specific questions, please ask, because the next logical step will be that we start doing the club meetings where we are constructing specific topics for discussions on a monthly basis. We're taking on specific activities to do, and then we are holding each other accountable, and then we are moving ahead, right? So that is the crux of the whole activity. While this being the first meeting, we wanted to share with you what the 10 Crore Club is, what we will do, what we will not do, what principles we will live by. But beyond here, there's a lot more commitment that is asked for. If you want to continue working working together and being part of the club, will you adhere by the principles? Will you stick to the rules? Will you come for the meetings? Can you volunteer to help in some way, because we might need more mentors? So it's it's not something that I can do, or Amit can do, or Karan can do ourselves, or Kajal can do. So it's something that we have to come together and put together, and with a lot of feedback and a lot of insights from all of you. So I'd like to open, so as promised, in 40 minutes, and I'd like to hear from all of you specific questions that you have, because the inputs that you've given on the Google form have been very insightful. You've mentioned that, I'm looking at a support group, I'm looking at like-minded people. So, we're very, very happy to answer questions. Yes. So, Sandeep, you'd like to unmute yourself and ask Amitji the question. Then the next person can go.
Yeah, thanks, Bhuna. Actually, now this will be a general comment and question. I'll come with everything. First of all, congrats for starting this, having this initiative to start this. And actually, I was in two minds whether to come or not, simply because I saw a different part of the world when I heard Karan and Amit. Even there, I would have been, doubtful, because when I meet lawyers and we say the lawyers, and I always give others suggestion. If you want a consultation, if you want advice from a lawyer, whether you want to file a case in a particular city or not, take consultation from another lawyer who's not part in that city, or whom you will not give a case, because always they have vested interest. Nobody today, whether it's a doctor or a lawyer, and I would say a big part of mutual funds advisors, most of them, they don't have our interest in mind. They simply say, okay, this is where you are going to, they will be benefit. They care two hoots whether you fight in the case courts for how long. They will misguide you. And after hearing about Amit, I'd say perhaps this is the first case I've heard of people getting million. When you talk of million or crorepati, it's the same, because I've been in Dubai for almost 25 years. We used to hear about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, who's very famous in India also, and I've read quite his books. There he was totally against mutual fund advisors, and in a way, truly so. I have also heard jokes of one of the guys going to the bank, and he's taking a gun, and he says, I have not come to shoot anybody, but if anybody tells me to come and buy a mutual fund, buy investments, hang on, I just come to deposit cash. So although this was said in a lighter vein, but the concept or the general notion about people is that you cannot make wealth. And if you even with mutual funds, and if you study the likes of Warren Buffett, or even in India, you have Ramdev Agarwal of
Motilal Oswal.
Company, but
Motilal Oswal.
Of Motilal Oswal, great. And he is a follower of Buffett. And his story is very similar to yours, Amit. Almost 99, he was having some few lakhs or 1 crore or something, and then he reached, I think, 1,000 crore or whatever. Yeah. And his was purely some 8 or 10 companies spot on, like HDFC and so on. So I have been reading people. Little did I know that people mutual funds. So we'll maybe today, if we have the time, or next time, we would love to know how, what your strategy was for mutual funds. But again, I'd like to reinstate what I said. There are very, very few advisors who would like to think of our benefit. So if I meet a mutual, I'll say out of 999 people, 999 people out of 1,000, if I meet mutual fund advisors, they will have their interest. Nobody would think, as Karan said, they will not be thinking for sprints. They are only thinking of marathon, and here again is the client's interest. And I don't restrict to mutual fund advisors. It's investment advisors. You talk with your friend who's in LIC. He'll say, no, sir, you go in for that. Later you come to know that was his benefit. Similar, you go to a doctor. He will say, do the test only from a particular clinic. Or you go to a lawyer. I think I have said enough, but appreciate, again, thanks Bhuna's effort of, guiding us correctly. And the best part is y'all don't have an vested interest. That's why I would like to not only continue, but I'd like to encourage people to join this.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Great, thanks. Bhuna, if I may just say something here. Sandeep, thanks for this, sharing your experience. Now, let me also clarify at this stage that it's not about mutual funds. I just shared in my experience. I use mutual funds as a vehicle, but each one is free to pick up the vehicle of one's choice. It's just that one should be comfortable with. So in this forum, though Karan and I both come from the mutual fund background, the idea is not to recommend a mutual fund scheme. If you are fine with stocks and if you understand stocks, we can also, look at getting somebody who can give us a framework to evaluate stocks so that we can become better at deciding whether our choices are correct or not. But your points are absolutely valid that we would like to deal with people who have our interest in mind rather than their own interest in mind. Absolutely valid points, sir.
And do you
Yes,
have any
Bhuvna.
response to that on mutual fund advisors and stuff?
So I have I have a much bigger exposure than most as far as mutual fund advisors are concerned, mutual fund distributors are concerned, or investment advisors are concerned, simply because of being a trainer in this field. Whereas in my earlier job, I was a sales guy from a mutual fund company. So the moment I become a trainer, again, I'm not I get a more neutral view about what they think and how do they operate. And to that extent, I would say, while there's this wide-held belief that most are looking at their own interests first. I would say, even if it is most, it's not 100% cases. I know a lot of people who have let go of their own earnings, even when their own earnings, when it came to helping their clients. Incidentally, I'm working on writing. My next book is going to be about the same thing. We've spoken to roughly 30 odd people from the intermediation and picked up stories from them about how they helped their clients. In a few cases, the advisor actually let go of the revenues and only to help the clients. So there are exceptions to that as well.
Yeah, I think it's more a compulsion of the business model. It's not intentional. It's more a compulsion of the business model. So if we can figure out a business model that will work well for everyone, then I think intention-wise, nobody is to be doubted. People here, mutual fund distributors or registered investment advisors, we all know and we understand that unless our clients succeed, we don't succeed. It's never the other way around, right? So, I mean, that's just my little bit of thing. Having said that, that's got nothing to do with this
Maybe I'll just add on to that, Bhuvna, because like I said, I spoke from personal experience and my own experience dealing with distributors professionally when I was in the mutual fund company, and today as an investor. My own experience dealing with distributors has been really, really good. I've never come across someone who wants to make money off me by not making money for me. Perhaps I've been lucky, but you can't be lucky every time. It's been 20 odd years. So my experience have been way better. The other thing I just want to leave everyone, and by the way, I'm not hard selling anything. You are free to do what you wish to do. I'm just sharing something that in our daily lives, we tend to look for professionals, whether it's an architect to build a home, or go to a doctor, even if it's for a common cold, etc. Very, very basic examples. But when it comes to creating wealth, there is this notion that we can do it on our own. I don't kind of subscribe to that view. It is a very deep subject. It requires tremendous amount of discipline, and sometimes the discipline has to be bought from an external source who happens to be your advisor. And I kind of just sum this up by, even in the case of Mahabharata, the Pandavas chose Krishna as their advisor, and they gave up the entire army that was available to them. And the role Krishna played in Mahabharata is known to all. Your job as investors is to find your own Krishna so that that path becomes easier. It's not about finding the next big stock or getting to know which fund will kind of deliver 100%. That's part of making money. But if you want to create wealth, you'll have to find Krishna.
Can I add something here?
Yes, please.
To get the Krishna, you need his kripa, as they say.
Yes.
I am working with lawyers, and I am also helping some of the people who are victims of law cases. They say it's easier to get a wife than a good lawyer, a good wife than a good lawyer, In similar way with the mutual fund advisors, because you have been in the line, for you it's quite easy to find out what are their interests. But for a layman, it's a challenge, you know.
Okay.
Sandeep ji, absolutely, very well appreciated your point. Incidentally, just extending Karan's example, while one group had an advisor called Krishna, the other group had an advisor called Shakuni. Okay, and that's how Mahabharata happens.
Exactly. And the majority were there
is,
with Shakuni. The Kauravas were in the majority, sir.
No, so it's about blessing, but to an extent. But if this 10 crore club, becomes useful in identifying a good advisor, I think that also would be a big job that all of us would have done together. So we are always willing to share our own experience, our own understanding of the industry, always there. So that goes without saying.
Karthik had a question. Karthik, would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question? Karthik? Okay, so there's another question. I have a very, yeah, Karthik, yes, go. Yes, Karthik? We can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself and speak? Okay. So I don't know if Karthik is there. Karthik, you can come back whenever you want. There's another question, a very basic question, Bhuvna. When you say the first crore, do we include the assets also or include only investments? Yeah, so I think we will cover all of that in more details and what accounts for assets, what accounts for liabilities, what gets into your net worth. So those are things that we will come by. It's not going to be a one session thing. We're going to spend a lot of time to building each of those principles we spoke about when we said I'm going to spend intentionally. I'm going to, my children are very responsible with money, and I will pay off all my loans. So each of them will require time, and which is what the club will try to do little by little. So I go back to talk about focusing on one thing at a time, right? So is a well-defined process, and we will follow that process to get you to 10 crores. We'll come to that question in just a little while. Yes, Karthik, you can. Karthik, we can.
Yeah,
We can
hi. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Yeah, hi everybody. This is Karthik here from Mumbai. I have a very small experience in the BFSI sector. I work in the marketing department for the BFSI sector as of now. Been a part of Motilal Oswal, worked with Mr. Ramdev Agarwal personally on the marketing front. And also with Mr. Oswal, worked with Kotak Securities as well, worked with Mr. Uday Kotak for a very brief moment, and currently serving in one of the leading stock market, you can say a stockbroker as of now. So I'm starting my investment journey, and fortunately I came across this post on LinkedIn where Bhuvna had put up for a 10 crore club, and it was something that I had never seen before. So I thought, let's see and let's join and let's understand what exactly it is. So just a clarity, wanted to understand that are we means there were two things, maybe the things that you have already made clear, where we are saying that we're going to talk about strategies and stuff like that, and also as Mr. Amit said that we're going to look at things that how we're going to evaluate certain scripts and stuff like that. So from that I get an answer that we are not going to hard sell any kind of schemes or any kind of stocks or any reports or something of that sort, but we are going to understand how the things are going to work. I just want to need a clarity. Is this my understanding is correct, or we are looking at something else?
Yeah, your understanding is correct, Karthik. And I'd also like to clarify to the others, it's not only about investments. Karan made a very valid point. He said making money versus building wealth, right? And the process of building wealth, irrespective of how much money you make, you may end up building wealth or no wealth at all. And it's clearly a function of knowledge and so both of that we will address as I share the screen one more time for the benefit of the people. So this is the process that we've been talking about. So it is a very clear step-by-step process for the 10 Crore Club. So we will first look at each part when saying I'm spending intentionally so that I can get enough money for emergency, so that anything that happens, I'm taken care of. I'm paying off all loans, and I commit not to take any more loans, because that's like a really big no when you're in the process of creating a 10 crore and you want to get, so if you have a 20-year loan, you pretty much pay it off in 20 months if you can, like Amitji, so that you can become financially free. So there's going to be a war against loans. Okay, so there's no investment conversation happening here, right? You create enough money for emergencies, you're putting away money for retirement and for children, and then you're attacking your home loan to pay it off in full. And after that is when you focus on 10 crores, right? So that, unless you have flanked your main requirement, your goal, with all that can possibly go wrong and jeopardize you, you will not be able to get to that 10 crore target with a lot of resolve and commitment, right? So at this club, we are trying to build the right mindset and the right behavior, and this is the step-by-step process that we're trying to adhere to. So every single meeting that we will do, we will pick up one of these topics. We will spend time on understanding why we're talking about 1 lakh in cash emergency, what's wrong with keeping a credit card and paying it off every month, right? So every single topic is going to be discussed. Tools will be provided so that we're getting on the on the journey. And then it's very important that you work as a team. How do you get family around to support you in this process? So it's going to be all those things that we foresee as possible distractions and possible derailers are something that we will address here, so that this 10 crore is not something that's in the air, which is actually a possibility. Right? So when it's like precision engineering, you follow the process, the outcome is only an outcome. It's only a result, right? So the focus is going to be on the process, and having said that, the focus is also going to be on a lot of accountability. Okay, if you agree to do something, you please do it and come, because there's going to be a mentor who's going to look over and say, okay, if you had troubles, meeting this particular promise, what was the problem? Right? If you said that you're going to keep a budget, then you haven't been able to, what was the problem? If you said you're going to pay off this particular credit card loan, if you haven't, then what's the problem? Right? So the whole idea is to keep you focused and follow the process so that we can together get to the to our target. Right? So it's like-minded, process-driven, committed, willing to support each other with a common goal, because the 10 crores is very important to us. It can make impact. Okay, so if that is clear, we're not talking about investments or mutual funds or anything along the way till you've paid off your damn loans, till you've figured out your cash flows, till you've put that money aside for emergencies, got your basic insurances. All of them will help you focus on creating the wealth and give you enough courage to go that journey in the long haul. Right? So the investments are going to come much later, if that's giving you any clarity. I mean, this is my thought. This is exactly what I would like done in this movie.
Buna, just to add to this point, and I think the way I put it, I need to rephrase it. I just want to clarify here that whenever it comes to the investments, we can identify somebody to help us with putting the framework in place. So as Buna had mentioned in the presentation, this is not where the stock tips would be given, or the scheme is better, that scheme is better. So we are not even going to go to that discussion. But all these frameworks that the 10 pointers that Buna had mentioned, that framework is actually about ensuring that we also stay focused on our own interest. So that's the objective of putting that framework. Have I done this? Have I done that? Have I done this? Have I done that? Because if I do certain things, if I put 1 lakh aside in a bank account, that's my emergency fund, which is already created. That's my fund that is created. But for that, I have to do certain things. And that's where the whole focus is. Sandeep's point was also very valid, that somebody else may not look at my interest first and look at one's own interest first. This club is all about ensuring that we also stay focused on our own interest. So that's the whole attempt, if that helps.
Yeah. And Karthik, just to clarify, we're all on the same journey. Okay. Maybe maybe Amitji has reached, but I haven't. I'm still in the journey, but maybe I'm a few steps ahead of many people out here. So we all have different starting points. Okay, we're looking at inspiration from each other. Some of us have some knowledge, some of us have some experience, some wisdom. So if we come together, I think we can create something that all of us can potentially benefit from, right? So that's where this is coming from, and I'm very happy to take any more questions. There is a particular form that I have shared in the chat box. That it had a few restrictions in the earlier, but I've removed those restrictions. If you want to be part of the club, the next meeting, of course, I'll shortly, we want to meet every first Sunday of the month, the same time, 3:30 to 4:30, where we will construct the meeting in this way, where we will share some knowledge pieces, we will share some tools, certain methods, and then we will have accountability, we will have cheerleading. So that's the process that we will follow. And please evince your interest. There will be some requirement, because it's going to be, if it's going to be a fairly good group, we might need more intense mentoring. So if you can volunteer to do some work, please give your interest in that group as well, so that we can try and do what we can do best for the rest of us here. Right. So not only we supporting each other and do not have any waste. Yeah, so there are no vested interests, there are no judgments. We are all on it. We've all screwed up. So like I say, I have a commerce degree, an undergraduate degree from commerce. I have a master's in business administration, and I have a PhD in being dumb. Okay, so we've all done enough mistakes with our money, and there's no judgment. So we just learn from our errors, and we just move ahead. So great. Okay, so this is, I've shared this link. If there are any more questions, very, very happy to hear. We plan to have the next meeting. I am okay to have it in the middle of the month. First meeting, where we will want to cover a little more on budgeting. So Amitji, Karan, that's the plan, to first work on intentional spending, because if you don't have your expenses in control, all the other plans just go. So prima facie, you have to keep your expenses in control, and intentional spending is one of the prime focuses of the club and the club members, and we will focus on intentional spending in the next meeting. And you can join the club. We plan to have the session typically first week of November, but yeah, so you can mark your calendars for the first Sunday of every month between 3:30 and 5. And the agenda will be shared. If you're not part of the WhatsApp group already, please join the WhatsApp group. Kajal, if you can share the link to join the WhatsApp group here, in case somebody is not.
No. Sure.
Yeah. So you could, people could join the WhatsApp group, so we can keep everybody posted on the next session. And Karan and Amitji are here to guide us along the way, and be our mentors, and shine the light on what's coming ahead next in the whole process. So Subdeep, all these questions will be answered when we get there. Very specific. Retirement fund is PF, so it could be PF, it could be anything. It doesn't matter, whatever works for you, right? So we'll get there in just a little while.
Bhuvna, do we have time for a quick question?
Yeah, sure, Jim. Sure.
Yeah, I'm Jacob Jose here. I'm a friend of Dr. Ujjwal Siria, who invited me to this session today. So I don't have any much prior background, but briefly, I'm working in Dubai as a director in one of the firms. So I have some understanding of finance, everything. So, however, as you said, I'm also an MBA engineering graduate, but probably not made the right financial decisions at the right time. So my question is primarily, do you have some kind of a time frame that you are working on, or since, as you said rightly, everybody will be at different stages. So is there some kind of thought over there that, okay, we are looking to reach this 10 crores in, say, time frame X number of years? Could be for different people, but at least is there a framework to think about it?
Much faster than you could have done it yourself would probably be the answer. But I think each one will have to figure out their own pace. For example, like I'd like to take the example of the marathon. There are people who want to be podium finishers. There are the people who just want to finish, right? I'm happy if I finish the marathon in 5 hours, 6 hours also. Okay, while my husband will want to, finish it in 3.5 hours, right? So to each his own, you can choose your pace, you can run at your pace, you can pick it up from wherever you want. But what the club will just ensure is that you don't fall out. You don't stop running, right? So that's that's what the club will be able to do. You want to crank up the speed and do faster, very well. Most welcome. You get there, be a mentor and help the rest of us and be that inspiration. But if you're slowing down, if you're falling out, then the club will always hold you responsible and bring you back on track. So I don't have a time frame in mind. Karan, Amitji, this was just an off the head response. So if you think another response is better, please.
Yeah, probably to put it in a different way, since different people are going to start different times, is there like a, in 2 years, 3 years, 5x, 2x, 3x, growing your wealth? Is there some thought? That's what I wanted to try to understand.
No such thought.
Amit, you want to take that question?
Amitji, you want to take that question?
Karan has a bad habit of transferring all the difficult questions to me.
Then I'll answer it.
No, so I think your question is valid, looking at the time frame. However, as you also rightly mentioned, different people are at different stage, and to that extent, the time frame is also going to be different. Having said that, let me also add one more dimension here. Though this is called a 10 crore club, the 10 crore itself could be different for different people. Okay, the 10 crore is a number which is picked up, which is a round figure. Somebody may say that, okay, I can live that life of my choice at 7 crore, and somebody may say it is 15 crores. So while the person, in terms of net worth, even if the person is ahead of the others today, that person may take longer to reach one's own target. So to that extent, as we go along, maybe over the next few months, we should be able to discover for our own selves as to roughly how much time we can take if we stick to the discipline of going through the rigor. That's how I would put it. So it's right now it's impossible to mention that. It will be a different journey for different people.
Just like how in the marathon you have the 2-hour club, and then there is a 4-hour, each one holding a flag and saying, okay, depending on what my speed is, I join this particular group. Depending on another speed, I join another group, right? So those things.
Even that marathon example, I would just twist it a bit and say this is a journey where all of us are co-passengers. Now, Buna station may come after, certain time. In my station, maybe farther ahead. So that also may vary. So that's how I would put it.
Yeah.
Now, what prompted me to ask this question was, see, in today's low interest environment, yields are going to come down on any investment.
Yeah.
So in the past, you used to get 15%, 18%, that kind of returns.
Sure.
But going forward, one is not sure. So it's going to be a slow process, at least in terms of compounding, especially from investments.
Yeah, I appreciate that point, and you're right that in a low interest scenario, does the situation change? Do things change? Yes, they do change. Having said that, we did not anticipate the interest rates to fall down so sharply in such a short time. So we don't even know whether the interest rates would continue to fall, will go up, will stay where they are. That also is not sure. So we've not even gone to that dimension. But we'll discover over a period of time. So
fortunately, we're all, the interest rates have fallen for everybody. So you're not alone. So together we might be able to find a better solution than all by ourselves. Right. So any other questions? I'm very, very happy to answer. I'm really thankful for taking this interest and coming here. There is a form that I've shared in the chat group. We'll be sharing the same thing on the WhatsApp group also. Gautam is happy to answer this question. Everybody is starting from a different location. Everybody has a different age. Everyone has different passion and drive. Gautam, you want to unmute yourself? I'm so happy that you turned up, Gautam. Gautam has been a great inspiration for me. So Gautam, can you unmute yourself? You'd like to answer Jacob's question.
Hi, Jacob. How are you?
Good, very good. How are you?
Great. Thanks. Great. No. I mean, I'm just saying it's a great question because we all strive for clarity, which is always what we want, or like to have a goal with a timeline. So I think each one of us can set our own timeline in that sense, whether it's 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, whatever is said and done. We all know that what we can achieve together is going to be far more than we can achieve alone. That's a given. And then I think everyone's got a different starting point. While it's still a marathon, someone's starting at the beginning. Someone's already got 1 CR, someone has 3 CR, someone has 5 CR. Everyone has different business models. So I think just coming together, we'll learn from what we call share best practices. We learn from each other. We'll be accountable to each other, to encourage each other, inspire each other. So we'll enjoy the journey much more. And it's the journey, not the destination, which you may have heard many times. So I think just the collective variety of sort of starting points, businesses, etc., makes the answer very difficult to put a precision to it. But I think rest assured, doing it together, we'll achieve it much faster than alone, you know.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Gautam. I think that was really very sensible, and Gautam has been such a support and help. Thank you so much, Gautam, for that answer. If there are any more questions, very happy to answer them. We put together a lot of interesting content here. And a lot of very good tools that I managed to fish around here and there, and which I'm trying out myself. And I think this is it's going to be incredible, the kind of things that we're going to do, and the possibilities. You know, I'm thinking of what all can possibly this club do. If we become a fairly large club, we could potentially get a group insurance for everyone who would not be able to ever get a group insurance. I don't know. I'm just making these up, right? So we could potentially all of us come together and support a cause that's very close to us. Maybe we could design investment products that's just for our club, right? Who knows? I mean, I'm just saying these things, but it all boils down to how cohesive we can get together, follow the principles, follow the process, and stay committed and support each other. So if you can give your information on that Google Forms, and if you can volunteer in some way, please evince interest, because there's nothing in it for any of us here, except for the fact that if more and more people become wealthy, then we'll all have work to do, right? So that's where we come from, right? These presentations, yes. So we might, yes. So that's also there. We might call people to come in and present. So in fact, we were talking about getting the family together, working as a team, right? Sometimes you may need some external help on counseling. So we might get paid speakers, very good quality speakers. So we might be able to muster up a lot of support if if we come together on that. Praneeth, yes, go ahead and ask your question. It's 4:51, guys. So I took your time till 5 o'clock, and I like to keep time, but I'm happy to answer questions. So Praneeth, go on, please.
One question to Amit. Amit, if home loan was the cheapest form of loan available to you in the market, what was the reason to close it so early? You could have made other investments.
Oh, fantastic question. So while home loan was the cheapest, I was getting out of a fixed salary job and getting into a profession where neither the work was certain nor the income was certain. I had no prior experience of doing any business. I had no prior experience of conducting training programs on my own. So I was getting into a completely uncharted territory as far as I was concerned. And there I simply applied a basic principle that when your income is uncertain, keep your liabilities on the lower side, because a home loan EMI is a fixed regular expense. So that was the logic. And as I said, I was simply lucky, grateful to God for that, because after I sold off my investments and paid off my loans, investment markets turned southwards and interest rates went northwards. So otherwise it could have been a double whammy: no job, no income, high cost loans, and investment value going down. I mean, that was something that I could not have been able to handle. So what I looked at was what was in my control. In my control was to sell off the investments and pay off the loan. That is something that I could do. Could I take the market values up, or could I take the interest rates down? That was definitely not in my control. So I just simply did what was in my control, and that helped.
Thanks a lot, Amit.
Incidentally, so just to add to that, incidentally, I left my job in February 2008, and all of us know that by September, October 2008, the whole world was in, especially financial services, was in a really, really bad shape. So from roughly middle of October till end of February, almost a 6-month period, I had no work, zero income. And I still did not have to update my CV. So there was no need. I mean, so that's where universe conspires, but you've got to do some basic work.
Absolutely.
But thanks for asking this question.
Great. Just to say, every session at the 10 Crore Club will have to have 3 takeaways. One is one piece of knowledge, a little learning, a self-realization, one piece of inspiration where you say, oh yeah, this is possible for me, I'm on this track. And number 3, one actionable. Okay. So for those of you who plan to turn up for the next meeting, I have a little activity for you to do so that accountability. You remember Gautam was insisting on it that we stay accountable. There's one activity that you have to do. Are you okay? Can I give you an activity to do? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So if you plan to turn up for the next meeting, I hope a lot of you will turn up, and then you'll bring on your friends also. That'd be fun. The more, the merrier. And that'll give us a lot more motivation to do what we want to do. So this activity, okay, tell me if this sounds okay. The next content is going to be on intentional spending. Okay, I have done these kind of mistakes. I've ordered things online. They've come, they've not fit me. I've done nothing about it, not even returned it. I go to the mall, I just pick up stuff, put them in, in the cart, and then throw my credit card, make the payment, right? So I don't think it's very different for many people. Okay, so I want you to pick up any one item in your expenditure list. It can be fruits and vegetables, it can be groceries, it can be travel. Just pick up one item in your expenditure item and practice intentional spending. When I say intentional spending, what we mean is you're telling the money where to go instead of the money telling you what to do, right? So a budget is a tool that tells you, where you tell the money what to do instead of wonder what happened with the money, right? So you fix up one amount. It can be, let's say, 10,000 rupees for your item, and then you ensure that you stick to 10,000 rupees. So if by the 15th or 20th, the 10,000 rupees is over, figure out what to do. Or if you're down to 7,000 and 8,000, just get very creative. So my idea is to pick up fruits and vegetable. I shop in Nature's Basket. So if by the 15th I've run out of money, I'm going to go to Jambli Naka Market, okay, to do my shopping, but I'm going to stick with my budget, right? So this is one activity. Pick up any one item in your expenditure item and practice intentional spending. Does that sound all right? Can you all put in your chat box, what is that expenditure item you'd like to pick up? What is that one expenditure item that you'd like to pick up? This is an activity. This is not even one of those intense activities that are coming your way from the next month onwards, guys. This is just one activity, right? Sandeep says legal expenses, okay. Praneet says dining out. You're dining out, Praneet? Wow. Which part of the world are you living in? That's amazing. Okay. Good. Pick up one item in your expenditure item and practice intentional spending. Takeaways. Okay. I want to know more. If you're planning to turn up, I'm going to hold you responsible, guys. Trust me on all of this. I can be really bad with this. Cash expense on miscellaneous expenses. Okay. Spending on outside food. Okay. I believe in delayed gratification. Unfortunately, as I live in the future, I've never been able to manage it. As I live, okay. I've never been able to manage it. I didn't understand what you said, Oliver. Okay, so I'm going to stick to intentional spending now. We'll explore what is living in the future means with Oliver in a little while. Okay, intentional spending. Yes. So I'm looking forward. How do you manage? That's when you give your creative juices some work. Okay. So how do you manage within a fixed budget? So that's going to be activity number 1, Amazon purchasing. Come on. Yes. Very good. I like it. Control miscellaneous expenses. Excellent. Very good, guys. I really appreciate all that effort. So even if we are a small club, I'm sure if we do the right things, we're going to become something significant. And I'm very excited to run this journey with all of you. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Karan, for being that amazing support. And I'm hopeful for your support in the coming years as we all take this journey together. Right? So,
Bhumna, I want to ask a question.
Yes, Ujjwal.
Beautiful session. Really what I always needed, because I have always told you that I don't understand money and the discipline, all that. So my question was, because the number of people who are here today, I feel is so less than what we could have. and because of the value I can see of this club. So are you planning to have another session like this before November, so that you can have lots of people there?
Can I revert on this? I'll check with Amitji and Karan, and then.
Sure, because then we can invite a lot of people who can be a part of this club before you start the course.
What do you guys think? If you think this is of great value, and if you think your friends can come over, you just tell me on the chat box. If you think we can do another session like this, and see if we can get more people interested. But I'm okay to start with a small club and then go on with building it on word of mouth. So I'm totally up. So give me a quick view on the chat box if you think we can do, and if you can share the word with the others. Yeah. Start small. Sandeep is saying start small. Okay. I appreciate that opinion, Sandeep.
Dr. Ujjwal, let me just add here that while Bhuvna wanted to make it slightly bigger right from the beginning, I was one who held her back and said, at least do the first meeting, see the response, and then decide how to go with the promo. So to an extent, I am the person responsible for the size of the group being small.
Yeah, but I like the idea of starting small. I think we're putting it together ourselves. It's not that there's been some precedence of somebody running a club already that we can just take the template and follow. That's never been the case. So we might falter along the way. I'm happy to work with a small group of people, and I'm sure if people are inspired enough, the word will spread, and we might have more people joining it. Let members.
But Bhuvna, let me just tell you my first impression of today's meeting. I think the kind of interaction that we've seen today, we are on the right path, and there are a lot of people who would contribute in a big way. So when the group becomes bigger, I think many people are already already contributing, and their contributions will also help the new joinees or the existing people or all of us.
Okay. Great. Okay. Let members be ambassadors. So, Ujjwal, I'm going to take that view. We may not repeat this session. We're going to do the first session anyway in the first week of November. But if you still want people to come in for that first session, you're welcome to invite them.
Sure.
We're recording this session, so we might make the recording available.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that interest and that support. So thank you very much, guys. It's 5:01. The link to join the WhatsApp group is shared. In case you're not part of the WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group. And also the Google Forms to show interest to join the club. It's important for us to have that data together so that we can make smaller groups and assign mentors and all of that. So please make that small little effort of giving your details on the Google Forms. It'd be very important for us so that we have the data together. So please take a little while. Kadil has shared the Google Forms link one more time. So please take time to fill in that form, and I look forward to seeing you all again. I'll be in touch on the WhatsApp group regularly. I'd probably release the admin only on the WhatsApp group, and let interactions go after our first meeting. Right? So is that okay? Did you guys enjoy today's session? Was it good?
It was very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so I'm closing the meeting. Thank you very much for taking your time off on a Sunday, and have a great October ahead. And I look forward to seeing you in November. And remember, intentional spending on the item that you chose, I will hold you responsible. Okay. So see you. Bye-bye. Great.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thanks a ton. Thanks everyone.
Bye.